Once upon a time, there was a wise king. He ruled a prosperous kingdom. Everyone was happy, but the king had a problem. He needed to find a successor. He had to choose wisely. The king decided to test his 4 sons. Each son would rule for 5 years. The king wanted to see who could rule wisely, who could balance enjoying today with preparing for tomorrow. The first son was eager to start. The first son loved being king. He had grand feasts, he gave lavish gifts, he filled his days with music and laughter, but he forgot about everything else. He didn't think about this future, he didn't take care of the kingdom. 5 years flew by. The kingdom was in ruins, the people were unhappy. The first son had only chased pleasure, he had forgotten about everything else. He had failed the test. The king was disappointed, but he still had hope for his other sons. He called for his second son. The second son was determined to be different. Unlike his elder brother, who had failed to meet the expectations of the kingdom, he was resolute in his ambition. He wanted to carve out a legacy that would be remembered for generations. His eyes gleamed with a fierce determination, a fire that burned brighter with each passing day. He worked day and night. He saved every coin. His diligence was unmatched, and his commitment to his goals was unwavering. While others slept, he toiled under the dim light of candles, counting and recounting his savings, ensuring that every penny was accounted for. His efforts were not just for himself, but for the future he envisioned for his kingdom. He planned for every possibility. No detail was too small, no scenario too far-fetched. He consulted with the wisest advisors, studied ancient texts, and drew up intricate plans that covered every conceivable outcome. His mind was a labyrinth of strategies and contingencies, all aimed at securing a prosperous future. He dreamt of a glorious future. His visions were grand and filled with hope. He saw a kingdom that thrived under his rule, where prosperity and peace reigned supreme. His dreams were his driving force, propelling him forward with an unyielding resolve. But he forgot to live in the present. In his relentless pursuit of tomorrow, he neglected the joys and responsibilities of today, the laughter of his people, the beauty of the present moment. All faded into the background as he focused solely on what lay ahead. He never enjoyed his time as king. The weight of his ambitions bore down on him, leaving little room for happiness. His throne, once a symbol of power and prestige, became a prison of his own making. The crown felt heavier with each passing day, a constant reminder of the future he was striving to build. He never connected with his people. His subjects, who looked to him for guidance and support, found themselves distanced from their ruler. His focus on the future created a chasm between him and those he was meant to lead. The bond that should have united them was weakened by his preoccupation with what was yet to come. He was too busy worrying about tomorrow. 5 years passed. The kingdom remained stable, but the vibrancy of life was missing. The king's constant anxiety about the future cast a shadow over the present, leaving little room for joy or spontaneity. The kingdom was stable, but joyless. The streets were orderly, the fields were tended, and the markets were stocked. But the spirit of the people was subdued. The laughter and merriment that once filled the air were replaced by a somber silence. The people were safe, but unhappy. Their basic needs were met, but their hearts yearned for more. The sense of community, the shared moments of joy, and the simple pleasures of life were overshadowed by the king's relentless focus on the future. The second son had only focused on the future. His grand plans and meticulous strategies, while impressive, came at a cost. The present, with all its beauty and potential, slipped through his fingers like sand. He had forgotten to live in the present. The moments that could have brought him joy and fulfillment were lost in the haze of his ambitions. The world outside his window, vibrant and full of life, seemed distant and unattainable. He too had failed the test. The king was saddened. 2 sons had failed. The weight of their failures hung heavy in the air, a stark reminder of the challenges of leadership. The dreams of a prosperous future had blinded them to the importance of the present. Would the others be different? The question lingered in the minds of the royal family. As they looked at the younger princes, they wondered if they would learn from the mistakes of their brothers. Would they find a balance between dreaming of the future and living in the present? Only time would tell. The third son was afraid. He had seen his brothers fail. He didn't want to make the same mistakes. He became paralyzed by fear. He made no decisions. He took no risks. He didn't want to make things worse. 5 years went by. The kingdom remained stagnant. There was no growth, no progress. The people were uninspired. The third son had let fear rule him. He had achieved nothing. He too had failed. The king was losing hope. Only one son remained. Would he succeed where the others had failed? The fourth son was different. Unlike his brothers, he spent countless hours in deep thought, pondering the complexities of life and leadership. He understood something important. He knew that life was about balance. It wasn't just about power or wealth, but about harmony and equilibrium. He realized that a kingdom could only thrive if it was balanced in all aspects. He had learned from his brothers' mistakes. Each of them had focused too much on one aspect of ruling, whether it was military might, economic prosperity, or cultural achievements. He wouldn't repeat them. He knew that a wise ruler must consider all facets of governance. He enjoyed his time as king. He took pleasure in the simple joys of life, from grand banquets with his courtiers to quiet moments of reflection. He spent time with his people. He walked among them, listened to their stories, and understood their needs. He knew that a king's duty was to serve his subjects, not just to rule over them. He celebrated their joys and shared their sorrows. He was there for the festivals, dancing and singing with his people, and he was there in times of grief, offering comfort and support. But he also planned for the future. He made wise investments in infrastructure, education, and the arts. He knew that a kingdom's prosperity depended on long-term planning and foresight. He strengthened the kingdom's defenses. He ensured that his knights were well trained and that the castle walls were fortified. He understood that peace could only be maintained through strength. He didn't forget about tomorrow. He was always looking ahead, planning for the future, and ensuring that his kingdom would continue to thrive long after his reign. 5 years later, the kingdom was thriving. The markets were bustling with activity. The villages were prosperous and the people were content. The people were happy and secure. They had faith in their king and knew that he had their best interests at heart. They worked hard, knowing that their efforts would be rewarded. He had found the balance. He had succeeded. His kingdom was a testament to his wisdom and foresight. The people cheered for him not just as their ruler, but as a leader who truly cared for their well-being. The smart king's secret was simple yet profound: balance in all things. Finding your balance, enjoying today. You too can live like the smart king. You can find balance in your life, you can enjoy today and prepare for tomorrow. Start by appreciating the present moment. Savor your meals, enjoy the company of loved ones, notice the beauty around you. Don't get lost in worries about the future. Don't dwell on past mistakes. Embrace today. Find joy in the little things. Life is happening now. Make the most of it. Remember, happiness isn't a destination, it's a way of traveling. Planning for tomorrow, securing your future. Enjoying today doesn't mean ignoring tomorrow. It's about finding a balance. Think about your goals. What do you want to achieve? What steps can you take today to get closer to your dreams? It could be saving a little money each month. It could be learning a new skill. It could be taking care of your health. Small steps lead to big changes. Remember, planning for the future isn't about sacrificing today's happiness. It's about creating a brighter tomorrow. The power of small steps, building your legacy. In the grand tapestry of history, legacies are not built overnight. They are the result of countless small steps, each contributing to the larger picture. Don't be overwhelmed by the big picture. It's easy to feel daunted when you look at the vast expanse of what you want to achieve. But remember, even the most magnificent castles were built one stone at a time. Break down your goals into smaller steps. Each small project, each minor achievement is a building block. Celebrate your progress no matter how insignificant it may seem at the moment. These small victories are the foundation of your legacy. Each step, no matter how small, is a victory. Overcoming small obstacles and placing each piece carefully contributes to the grand design. It's these small, consistent efforts that lead to monumental achievements. Think of it like building a house. You don't start with the roof or the walls. You start with the foundation, laying one brick at a time. Each brick is essential. Each one adds to the strength and stability of the structure. You start with one brick at a time. Slowly it takes shape. With patience and persistence, the structure begins to rise. Each brick laid is a step closer to your vision. Before you know it, you have a home. The once daunting task of building a house is now a reality, achieved through consistent small efforts. Your life is the same way. The small everyday actions you take build the life you envision. Each decision, each action contributes to the larger picture of your legacy. One small step at a time leads to a fulfilling life. Just as a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step, your path to a meaningful legacy is paved with small, deliberate actions. Remember, your legacy is built on the small, everyday choices you make. Each decision, no matter how trivial it may seem, shapes your future. Embrace the power of small steps and watch as they transform into a lasting legacy. Living fully every day. Life is a journey, not a race. It's about finding joy in every step. It's about making choices that align with your values. It's about creating a life filled with purpose and meaning. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. They are opportunities to learn and grow. Embrace the unknown. It's where you'll discover your greatest potential. Remember, you are the author of your own story. Write a good one. Your happy ending awaits. The smart king knew the secret to a happy and fulfilling life. It wasn't about choosing between today and tomorrow. It was about finding the balance. It was about enjoying the present while preparing for the future. You can do the same. Start today. Embrace the present moment. Take small steps towards your goals. Create a life that brings you joy and makes a difference. Your happy ending awaits.